I'm here today to talk about my granddad. Both of my granddads fought in different wars. Granddad Charles George fought in World War I and also in India. And my other granddad, my maternal granddad, Alf Baker, fought during the Boer War. Alf Baker joined the Queenstown Rifle Volunteers, which was a colonial unit in South Africa, in 1890. He served for 20 years and got his Long Service Medal in 1910. The rifle I have here is a Lee Enfield Mark I Star, dated 1900. The difference about this particular rifle is it wasn't my granddad's rifle, but the bayonet at the top certainly was. This was given to me when I was 12 years old by my dear old gran, and as you can see, there's something missing at the top of the bayonet. Granddad was in the Colonial Division under General Brabant. They cleared the north of the Eastern Cape through Dordrecht, Aliwal North. They worked their way through the Free State to Wynberg, and he was based at Wynberg for some time, and that's where the Boers finally surrendered in July 1900 with about 4,000 men under the Boer General Prinsloo. Shortly after that surrender, the Queenstown Rifle Volunteers and also some other troops went out under a British yeomanry lieutenant to do a patrol. Unfortunately for them, they bumped into a fairly large Boer force of about 1,000 men. There were only 270 odd colonials. They retired to Okopie, which is a little hill, and basically were surrounded by the Boers for 2 nights and 3 days before they were relieved. At some stage of the game, during this little siege, a Boer Mauser bullet struck Grandad's bayonet. You can see on the scabbard the actual hole where the Mauser bullet entered the scabbard. It pierced the leather, obviously, hit the blade, and the impact snapped the blade in two. As you well know, a bayonet is worn on the left-hand side, hanging from your belt. So the result was that the bullet ricocheted off the blade and gave Grandad one hell of a bruise on his left thigh. But luckily he didn't get the bullet. So this saved the day for Grandad. In addition to the bayonet, Gran gave me a chocolate tin. Each British soldier during the Boer War was given one of these tins of chocolate by Queen Victoria. There's a really nice chocolate tin. Grandad had one as well, and the only difference is he didn't eat all of the chocolate. So there we have it, Fry's chocolate. He's eaten a few bars, the rest is all there. I don't think it's fit for human consumption, but certainly it's a nice memento to have. It's been there since 1900. In addition to that, it took me many years to get his medals. These were his service medals, and as a young kid, I remember having a look at these. They were in a little tin, and my gran used to show them to me every now and again, and I asked her if I could please have them, and she said no, unfortunately. They go to the eldest son, who was my Uncle Bernard. Well, 37 years later, my cousin very kindly decided to give them to me, which I was overjoyed with. This is a Queen South Africa medal with 2 bars on, Cape Colony and Wittebergen. And the Wittebergen was to commemorate the battle that I mentioned earlier, where General Prinsloo was surrounded in the Randwater Basin and was captured with approximately 4,000 of his Boers. The other medal, the second medal, is the King's South Africa medal. As you probably know, Queen Victoria died during the Boer War. She was succeeded by her son, Edward VII, a bit of a lad who'd made his name, was a favourite with the ladies and a few other things, but he wanted his own medal. So this medal was given to troops. Most troops didn't get that. Basically, they had to serve for 18 months in total. So it was only the guys who were there through to 1902 that mainly got that particular medal. A lot of the colonials went out for only one tour of 12 months, so they ended up only getting the Queen's Medal. At the end, we've got the Colonial Auxiliary Long Service Medal, quite a mouthful. This was a long service medal awarded to colonials in all the colonies, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa. It's got the head of Edward VII, and as I mentioned before, he was an armourer sergeant, and that was awarded in 1910. So I'm very proud to have these in my collection. In addition to his medals and his bayonet and his chocolate tin, I have here a little display frame with his bits and pieces. Queenstown Rifle Volunteers badge with the Queen Victoria crown above. Queenstown Rifle Volunteers shoulder title. 2 more badges here, and the leopard, which was the regimental colour, or emblem should I say. The Queenstown Rifle Volunteers was eventually amalgamated with the First City, and the First City have the leopard on their collars. These are replica medals, but as I say, it's a display case that I have in my room to commemorate Grandad's service. So all in all, I feel that I'm very, very lucky to have these mementos in the family, and most of all, I think that this broken bayonet tells a wonderful story. Thank you.